It is a joy to have Dr. Raj Sinha with us with Advent Health. You are their head of orthopedics.
That's right.
And we had a chance to visit not too long ago, and I'm just so pleased that you could come and have a little more extended sit down with me to talk about your world and the inventions you have been a part of, and just what it means to you as a physician to help people who have injuries with their bones and joints. As we age, knees and hips and all those things we're all kind of concerned about.
So true. Thanks so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, you didn't always want to be an orthopedic guy, though, did you?
Well, I wanted to be a football player initially.
Okay.
But my parents said no to that. I'm 6'1", 220. I'm not really football player size, but I did play rugby in college and medical school. But no, when I went to medical school, I wanted to be a plastic surgeon, actually. Mm-hmm. Not so much a cosmetic plastic surgeon, but a reconstructive plastic surgeon, because I just found, this is back in the 80s, I just found some of the technology and techniques that they were doing to transplant thumbs and fingers and repair, badly injured body parts was just really intriguing to me. And that was my plan all through medical school. And then through a quirk of fate, I wound up doing an orthopedic rotation as a third-year medical student. And the residents that I was working with were guys that I played rugby with. And they put a power saw in my hand for the first time. Actually, it was a drill the first time. And I was hooked.
Black & Decker, here we come.
It's pretty amazing. But you get to use power tools to fix people's injuries. Pretty good gig.
Yeah. Well, and it seems to me like as far as medical work goes, and so you need to have a lot of strength. I mean, I see a big guy like you, that you kind of need that power that you possess too, just in an operation. Maybe I don't know.
It's funny you say that because the old saying about orthopedic surgeons is strong as an ox, half as smart.
No, I've not heard that.
It's a medical school joke. But,
okay.
But the point I'm getting at is that you don't actually have to have a lot of strength. It's more about technique, and I think historically that's kept a lot of women out of the field, but fortunately that's starting to change now. Mm-hmm. And it's just, if you understand the biomechanics of what you're trying to do, then you just have to have the right technique to set broken bones and pop joints back into place and stuff like that.
Well, and you kind of, I guess, in your practice, sort of focus on knees. Is that right? Although you do shoulder,
right? My practice has been primarily hip replacement and knee replacement, specifically those two things for the last 27 years or so. And I've been in academics. I was in private practice for a long time in Palm Springs, California. When we moved to Texas for a combination of things, to get out of California as well as to be closer to family here in the Austin area, I thought I was retiring. I had some consulting things I was doing. I was working on developing some new prostheses and things like that. And I was doing some medical legal work. And the consulting thing was a little bit slow to get off the ground. But my wife, who works from home, was finally like, you need to get out of the house.
You are underfoot.
Yeah, you're underfoot. Well, first she tried to give me projects to get me out of her. Fix this, fix that.
Use those power tools for
yeah,
something
exactly.
else, right?
And then anyway, so I decided, I'm probably not quite ready to put down my scalpel.
Right.
At that point, I was only 57, so.
Yeah, I'd say, you got a lot of left there. So Advent Health, let's talk about Advent Health and that wonderful organization. I mean, it truly is a faith-based organization.
That's right. So how did I wind up there? Is that the question you're
that's
asking?
That's the question,
yeah, that's a good question.
I knew you wanted to get to Central Texas. But
well, I was already in Central Texas.
Okay.
We had moved to Horseshoe Bay and we're living there.
I love Horseshoe Bay.
Yeah, so we had a condo there.
Oh.
It was a little bit rural, I think, for my wife's taste. Mm-hmm. I was very happy to be out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. But anyway, so we were there, and when I started looking for a job a little more seriously, I wanted to go someplace that didn't have a really big joint replacement program, but a place that felt that there was a need to develop it. Because, listen, I love to do the surgery, and I love when patients do well, but I've done 10,000 of them. at some point it's not that technically challenging or intellectually stimulating to do the surgery itself. But it's more about harnessing the power of the people and building a program and getting everybody to row the boat in the same direction. That's interesting to me. I also have a background in process improvement, with all those things like Toyota production system and things like that. And lastly, I have a business model. So I did a mini MBA at University of Pittsburgh. So I have a little bit of a business background. So I wanted to incorporate all those things to develop a program that didn't exist in Central Texas. And, Scott and White has a great program in Temple, but when you start moving west, there's nothing all the way to
Right.
Abilene.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so AdventHealth, they're located in Colleen.
Correct.
And then a satellite clinic in Lampasas.
And one in Harker Heights.
And
now,
in
too.
Harker Heights as well. It makes then that healthcare accessible to people who are kind of spread out.
It's true. I think that, one of the one of the things I've learned over the years is that people will travel certain distances for their physicians, but they won't travel those distances for physical therapy and occupational therapy and stuff like that. So we at Advent have tried to go to the patients with a lot of those services. The physicians go to where they are to make it a little bit easier for them. It saves them a half an hour travel in each direction. So I think that's meaningful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you mentioned the inventions part of what you do, because you have over a 30-year career have really come up with a lot of innovative joints and things. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So artificial hips and artificial knees have been around since the early 70s, and they've gone through a lot of innovations and changes. And, some of it had to do with manufacturing techniques. Some of it had to do with surgical technical techniques so that, more surgeons could do them, et cetera. And then there's a lot of stuff that had to do with, patient outcomes. So in the early days, 70s I'm talking about, manufacturing was still a little bit primitive, and there were only so many options you had. For example, if you're doing a knee replacement, you had 3 sizes, small, medium, and large, and you had to make it work at everybody, right? So that's a challenge in and of itself. But as things evolved, the technical part of it got to be quite good. But the piece that was always missing, at least until semi-recently, was the patient outcome piece. For a long time, we as surgeons focused on what we thought was important, like how the x-rays look and the stability of the joint. And we created all these scoring methodologies, for example, like the Knee Society score that measures how well a patient is doing. And so we compare those things between prostheses, between surgeons, between techniques, all that sort of stuff. But the Knee Society score misses a big component of what makes patients happy after they get a joint replacement, which is the ability to do things that they love to do.
Right.
Doesn't ask that question at all.
Oh, really? Because
Right.
that's kind of why they do it.
Correct.
Aside
Right.
from the pain, obviously.
Yeah, well, the pain, but ultimately they want to get back to being active, functioning
Yeah.
members of society, keep up with their grandkids,
Right.
all that sort of good stuff. So we were always missing that piece. And it wasn't until some research came out in the late 1990s, early 2000s that helped us quantify what it was that people were experiencing that we were missing. And the upshot was that they wanted to get better faster, and they wanted the joint to feel more like their normal joint. Like they were out of pain, but the knee was very foreign. They knew it was a foreign thing.
There was a foreign thing there.
Yeah, in their body. So we tried a lot of techniques, again, to address the first part of it, get better faster. And again, the incision length is not what makes the difference. It's how you control early surgical pain that allows people to get back to functioning quicker. So we figured that out. But we still had this sort of ceiling effect, which eventually I came to conclude was the prosthetic. When you're using metal and plastic, there's only so much you can do when you're putting it into a God-given joint that never was intended to have metal and plastic. Right? Nature never evolved that way. So fortunately, there was a company that had developed a manufacturing technique that allowed them to actually individually personalize the joint replacement to the shape, size, orientation, contour of each person's knee. And I thought, this is the next step
Yeah.
in what they're doing. And so I actually reached out to them. They're like, oh, are you so-and-so? We know you from X, Y, and Z things that you've done. Like, yeah, that's who I am. They're like, oh, we would love to have you involved with this. So then we got in. So I was able to get involved with a group of forward-thinking, radical, maybe a little out-of-the-box thinkers about how we could take this manufacturing technology and turn it into artificial knee. So we did that, and we started putting them in 2011, and each device is made for the patient specifically. Whereas with every other system that every other company has, they pre-make the implants, and then the surgeon has to fit the pre-made implant to this patient's body.
Yeah, and I would have thought that's, you got a row of knee joints. Okay, that looks like she needs a size 6 or whatever, and so this is basically like 3D printing. It's like,
yeah,
in a way.
No, it actually is. So, what you were visualizing is exactly how it used to be.
Yeah, right.
You would go into surgery, and we would do X-rays and CAT scans and stuff like that ahead of time to help measure accurately the sizing the best you can. But then when you get into there, you're like, okay, these are my 8 sizes available to me. The preoperative templating showed it should be a size 5. I got the 5 in there, and it's not exactly a size 5. It's like a 4 3/4. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't exist. And there were things that we would do. When you're in between sizes, you either go up or you go down relative to the patient's bone. And there's pros and cons to each of those approaches. If you go up, it's a more stable joint generally. If you go down, it bends better. Well, a stable joint that doesn't bend is not something that makes anybody happy.
No, walking stiff-legged.
Yeah, a joint that bends really well but won't support you because it wobbles all over the place is not anybody's idea of a fun time. So we needed to come up with a solution. And so this, again, from if you look at the patient-reported outcome data, it would basically show that people were dissatisfied with their joint, and about 15% of people would be dissatisfied with their artificial knee, meaning they were out of pain, they were better than they were, but they were like, I really thought it was going to be better than this.
Thought it was going to be better than this.
And 15% of people are in between sizes. There's a direct correlation there.
Yeah. That just blew my mind when we talked before, and I learned about that because I thought how amazing. And then you can even pinpoint like where cuts need to be made and just sort of really specify for the surgeon.
That's correct. So the implant is important, but you got to put it in the right spot where it was intended to be put in. So how do you make that process foolproof, if you will? And so what we do is when we do the CAT scan of the leg, we pre-calculate what the right orientation of the leg should be, and then we give you a series of tools like Lego that snap onto the patient's bone to allow you to contour the bone to that orientation. So not only for sizing the implant, but creating the proper limb alignment.
That is incredible. Well, talking about knees, one question I've always, because I have friends who've had both done at the same time, they would say, never would I ever. What are your thoughts on doing both at one time? And then others say, yeah, might as well. And do you do them both at the same time or say?
So I do. And I have a very personal story about this because my wife had both of hers done at the same time almost exactly a year ago.
Really?
Yeah. And honestly, I tried to talk her out of it. And so basically it kind of boils down to this. The first thing is each operation is a big deal with a certain amount of risk. And when you put 2 of those same operations on top of one another, the risk increases. And so the first consideration is the patient healthy enough, and do they have certain medical conditions that say we really shouldn't do 2 at the same time?
2 at the same time.
Right, because it's too risky for that particular person.
Right. To be under anesthesia for.
Yeah, that too. I mean, the anesthesia time, it's usually heart disease and lung disease. Mm-hmm. If you have pre-existing conditions there, then it's the risk factor starts to outweigh the benefit factor if you do both at the same time. So that's one issue. The second issue then is age. As we get older, we take longer to heal. And so it takes longer to heal from 2 versus 1, and you're slower, and that leads to a whole host of other medical problems becoming worse. And then the third factor for me is, are you tough enough to do it? Which is, that's a hard thing to read because everybody thinks they're tough. But, this is where the rubber hits the road, if you will. And, plus you have the support systems around you to be able to deal with things. And so, yes, to answer your question, I do them. I go through that process of checking off boxes to make sure the patient's going to fit the criteria to do it and have a good chance of being successful. But I still prefer doing one at a time. I think people are generally happier. The other thing that I've learned is that once you get one knee replaced, the other one somehow seems to hurt less. Now, I don't know if that's a subconscious thing because you're like, I'm not going through this again.
I'm not going to do that again.
Or is it a subconscious thing where you're putting all your weight
Right.
on the good knee
Yeah.
and you're therefore protecting the bad knee?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've also had people get one done and go, oh, that was so easy. Let's just get the other one done. What are we waiting for?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I've
Well,
had people go, I'm never going through that again, ever.
Yeah.
But then they come back about 2 years later and get it
Yeah,
done.
so yeah, when the pain was bone on bone,
Exactly.
that's a great explanation. I appreciate that. So let's move up from the knee to the hips because I would assume a lot more older patients, for sure, with the
Yeah, so the average age of hip and knee replacement patients in America is about 65. And the rest of the world is actually a little bit lower in some countries, a little bit higher in other countries.
really.
Yeah, so, so lower in other countries because there's more post-trauma arthritis that leads to joint replacements. And in some countries like England and Canada, the age is a little bit older because their health systems just make patients wait longer. So we're sort of in the middle of that, and the age is actually getting younger in America because some of the things that we've tried to rebuild joints and reverse arthritis just haven't been as successful as we had hoped. And so joint replacement becomes sort of the de facto last resort that somebody in their 50s would be like, why am I going to suffer for another 20 years?
I know life's too short,
Exactly.
really. To
There's no
be in that
guarantee I
much-
have 20 years, right? So
Yeah, yeah. I think my mother-in-law she was in her 80s when she had her hip replaced. But she said, I wish I had not waited, and that life is too short to be in that kind of pain where you can barely walk to
Right.
get across the room. Yeah, it's really neat though to talk to you about these things that with wear and tear and age and so forth. Your skills are certainly needed. What's your best advice for somebody like me doesn't have that issue now? Want to try to avoid that. Of course, obviously, I don't want to fall.
yeah.
Stay off the floor, as
Yeah.
they say. But what are what's good advice for protecting those joints?
Yeah, so if you don't mind me getting on a soapbox a little bit. So I've done 10,000 joint replacements, treated 100,000 patients in my career. I've never cured anybody of any disease, right? And part of it is a practical nature of being an orthopedic surgeon. I fix broken bones, I replace your joints. Okay, great. But the other thing is that our healthcare system is kind of backwards in that we don't treat healthy people and emphasize wellness enough. We treat sick people and primarily their symptoms. We don't even treat their diseases. We just treat their symptoms. So we're a sickness industry, not a health industry. So we need to rethink that. And so to answer your question, you got to focus on prevention.
Yeah.
So what are the 4 most important things for lifestyle improvement, anti-aging, and preventative health? The first is take care of your back. Not only is it important for how your arms and legs function, but it protects your organs, your visceral organs, your heart, your lungs, everything in your abdomen, and they work better when biomechanically they're protected. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing.
So how do you protect your back?
Core strengthening,
Right.
flexibility of your back.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it starts in your 40s.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an important thing. The second thing is mobility. You gotta maintain flexibility of your joints. The joints themselves, the way that nutritional molecules get into the cartilage is through pressure gradients inside the joint. So when you move the joint, it creates a pressure wave through the cartilage, and that's how the nutrients are delivered to it. If you become less active, then the cartilage is not getting its nutrients, and it starts to degrade. So that's the second important thing. Mobility also has to do with strength. So you want to be strong. The stronger your muscles are around the joint, the more protected the joint is going to be. So you can improve strength by weight training, like lifting weights. You can improve strength by yoga, Pilates, things like that work on a combination of flexibility and strength. Third thing is weight loss.
Yeah.
Everybody can lose 10 pounds. Not everybody, but most of us can lose 10 pounds.
Yeah, need to.
When you're talking about the hips and the knees and the ankles, when you lose 10 pounds, you take up to 70 pounds of force off of those joints, because your body is a system of levers. And so when you're adding weight, because the muscles are contracting and you're putting force on it when you're climbing stairs or running or jogging, it's not just your body weight, it's a multiple of your body weight. That is the amount of force that's being exerted on that joint. So if you lose 10 pounds, you take up to 70 pounds of pressure off of your joints.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying, lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, if you need to lose 20, lose 20. That'll take a lot of pressure off of your joints.
That'll take a lot of pressure off.
And you'll feel a lot better. In fact,
Yeah.
I've had patients who I've wanted them to lose weight because it decreases their risk of anesthesia and surgery. And so they've taken me up on it. They've lost 20, 30 pounds, and they come back and they say, my knees don't hurt anymore. I'm like, perfect.
I don't need you
We
now.
don't have to operate on you. How good is that? You've
That
just
is
avoided
great.
surgery by losing 30 pounds.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and then the fourth thing is prevention.
Yeah.
That's the hardest, disease prevention, right? So, for example, if arthritis runs in your family, there's not a whole lot you can do about the genetics, but you got to really emphasize all the things I just talked about to prevent it. If heart disease runs in your family, you've got to really be aggressive in preventing the heart disease from becoming an issue for you. And that's, it's a lot of different things,
Yeah.
but the long and the short of it is diet, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We literally are what we eat.
Yeah.
Our diet is the only source of a series of molecules called antioxidants. And the antioxidants will protect your proteins and your genes from degrading, because they actually go in and they scavenge the molecules that are trying to get at your DNA and your proteins. So you need to have a high antioxidant diet, which is green leafy vegetables, basically eat the rainbow.
Yeah.
Eat more of the rainbow than you think you need. And in the 50s, the recommendation was you needed 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. Well, that's great in the 50s, but our food is 1/3 as good as it was in the 50s. So you need like 10 to 15 per day.
In order to counteract all the processed foods and.
Yeah. So that was a long answer for your question.
That's a great. I mean,
that was my soapboxing.
That is such great. That is such great advice, and it's always such a delight to get to visit with you, and the more I learn about AdventHealth, the more impressed I am with that delivery system for health for the people in Central Texas. And I know this is dropping on November 6th, which tonight, the big gala, Black and White Masquerade, Unmask the Giving, and I should hopefully I'll be seeing you later in the day for that. It's going to be a great way to help raise money for AdventHealth. But I like to end these little visits with a little questionnaire.
Sure.
It's similar to the one the late great James Lipton would use for Inside the Actor's Studio, if you remember that. And this is my take on it. What is your favorite word, Dr. Sinha?
Oh boy, it's a tough one. My favorite work word is efficiency.
Yeah. For an orthopedic surgeon, I would say, yeah.
My favorite non-work word is football.
That's right. That and golf. I know you've got
No,
your tie pin too.
More football than
more,
golf.
More football than golf. Well, 'tis the season. That is for sure. For sure. What is your least favorite word?
I can't.
Right.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
It's a mindset.
I hear that from a lot of people. What turns you on creatively, emotionally, or spiritually?
For me, again, in the work world, it is seeing patients do well. I think I shared the story with you before about my father having a knee replacement that I did.
That you did,
That I
yeah.
did, yeah. My sister, and by that time I had done 6,000 or 7,000. And although I took care of all my patients really well, my sister sort of hit it home for me in that, how often do people, how lucky are you that you get to give your father a pain-free joint and let him walk again? I'm thinking, I never realized it from that perspective before. I didn't cry this time.
Yeah. I mean, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. What turns you off creatively or spiritually or emotionally?
I think it's people who struggle to find their happiness and point the blame outwards, which I think we're all guilty of, including myself. So I think that's the biggest thing that you want to see people overcome.
Mm-hmm.
that I want to see people overcome.
What is your favorite sound?
Rainfall.
Yeah. I know. Wouldn't that be great? We're in dire need of it. It was like, you want to run out in it, you know. What is your least favorite sound?
My least favorite sound, I haven't thought about that before. I would say probably hail hitting my roof.
Yeah, there's that.
Since we had the recent roof repair.
Oh, yeah. Unless you're up, your insurance is good and you're ready to get a new
thank
roof.
goodness.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Fabulously successful orthopedic surgeon. What other profession would you like to have tried?
I'm a sports junkie.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wanted to be a sports journalist. And my wife keeps telling me I still can be.
Yeah.
You know, I can, do what you're doing here
Oh,
and
yeah.
create something like that.
Yeah, have a sports podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I used to have a radio show actually in Palm Springs and sports. It was a sports talk show,
How
not a
fun.
medical talk show. I did that too, but the sports
Yeah.
talk show was way more fun than the medical talk show for me. But now actually I want to tap back into my writing abilities. And once upon a time I was a pretty good writer, so that's my goal for my next career now that I'm almost grown up.
Okay. All right. Well, I love to have authors on, so anytime you know where to come. What job, though, do you know you would not want to do? No thanks.
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I think being a coroner, I would never want to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's necessary. I mean,
It is.
it's
Yeah,
got to figure some of that stuff out. But yeah, that would be.
I think that would be tough.
You like your patients alive.
I do, alive and flourishing.
Amen. All right, one last question. What do you want to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
We're glad to have you.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that I got this chance to sit with you, Dr. Raj Sinha, and it's just amazing what's happening there at AdventHealth in Killeen, and of course you're taking new patients, I guess.
Absolutely.
Anybody got a need for a new joint? You can fix them up.
And remember, the joint is the end of the road. We have a lot of things we can do before
Right.
you need surgery.
Right, and yeah. But it's good to know someone who's done about 10,000 of these kind of procedures. But yeah, it's just been a delight. Thank you so much.
FlexShopper is designed for anyone who wants the freedom to get new products right away, whether it's electronics, furniture, or appliances, even without enough cash upfront or top-tier credit.
Many thanks to Dr. Sinha for sharing his vast expertise on joint health. Stay with us. Elizabeth Riley has your Act Locally news coming up. And then a little later in the show, we will be hearing about the Shine the Light event being put on by AdventHealth Central Texas. Don't go away.
I just got my Colgate Advanced LED Whitening Treatment in the mail, and I am very excited to have dramatically whiter teeth in just 10 days. My teeth are going to be 6 shades whiter. The treatment is enamel safe and hassle-free. It's even designed for my sensitive teeth. Let's open it up. Inside we have the blue light whitening device. It's a charger for after each treatment as well. There's a full 10-day supply, and it looks easy to apply. Order yours today at shop.colgate.com.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on the screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. With our feature called Popple Direct, you can pop one of your links directly. I turned Direct on for Instagram. Now when I pop someone's phone, it opens directly to my Instagram. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
This is the Sonos Arc Ultra, and this is what you need to know about. It represents one of the easiest ways to get into high quality home cinema without loads of cables and faffing around. And that's because the Arc Ultra provides full Dolby Atmos without any rear speakers thanks to its sound motion technology. And Sonos is actually calling sound motion one of the most significant breakthroughs in audio engineering in nearly 100 years. It's an amazing setup, it sounds absolutely fantastic, I love the absence of fat. If you're a Sonos person, there's a reason you're watching this video.
The Tanglefoot Festival is happening this weekend, bringing live music and great barbecue to Temple, Texas, September 12th and 13th. With names like Parker McCollum, Cody Jinks, Robert Earl Keen, and the Randy Rogers Band, you don't want to miss this lineup. Tickets are already on sale, so secure your spot at the Tanglefoot Festival in Temple. McLennan County United Way is hosting Rhythm and Brews, which is bringing a stacked lineup of karaoke rock stars to the Backyard Bar Stage and Grill Thursday, September 18th. Temperatures are already starting to cool off, so you can go enjoy an entertaining performance put on by leaders in our community and some excellent cold brews at the Backyard, with all proceeds going to the McLennan County United Way. Finally, Southern Roots Brewing Company is celebrating Oktoberfest from September 18th through the 20th. This special event spans 3 days and it is packed with exciting activities, delicious food, and plenty of beer. There will be a specialized essential worker night on Thursday, September 18th, so come by, get some delicious German beer, and enjoy some German music with Southern Roots Brewing Company. I'm Elizabeth Riley with your Act Locally Waco News, and I will see you next time.
Welcome back to the show. I am so happy to introduce to you Tanner Carlson, who is the marketing manager for AdventHealth Central Texas. And it is lovely to have you up here on the Alico building with me.
Oh, yeah. Love being here.
Yeah. So we met recently at AdventHealth. They're in Killeen. And you've just recently kind of come on board with the marketing job, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I've been there a little over a month now.
Oh, so all right.
Yeah, so very
so
fresh
you are
legs.
you are a newbie. Well, this is great. Well, it's awesome. I obviously had the wonderful chance to talk to Jasmine Rodriguez about 9/11.
Yeah.
You know, had a just a profound, moving conversation with her.
Incredible story.
Your boss.
Yeah.
She's so happy you're on board, though. I mean, she did tell me, she says, I'm so happy Tanner is here. So, Tanner, what we want to do, though, is talk about AdventHealth and what's happening. I know you've got a community event coming up a little later in the month that's going to be great.
Yeah, and with Breast Cancer Awareness Month coming right around the corner in October, this event is really a great reminder as a set-off to everybody that it's affected their lives. And we've all been affected by some sort of cancer, but primarily breast cancer. And I mean, I have grandparents that have both suffered from it. I have
really?
aunts that have suffered from it. So, I mean, it's been in my family, but I think you talk to any person, on the street, they probably know at least somebody that's been affected one way or the other.
Yeah, and it's men and women. It's not just women.
Correct, yeah.
I do know of some gentlemen who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. So, Shine the Light. Let's talk about that. That's coming up on September 25th. Mm-hmm. Where will it be held?
So it's going to be at AdventHealth Central Texas in Killeen. It'll be kind of in the back. So once you come into the hospital, it'll be where our surgical center is in that parking lot, and it'll be impossible to miss. We will have pink lighting. Our building's going to be lit up pink. We're going to have all sorts of balloons and all sorts of things that are just pink, pink, pink everywhere. People are going to be wearing pink T-shirts. So it'll be very difficult for you to miss it if you're going to head out that way, and we encourage everybody to do so. And yeah, it's a really great event. Again, it'll be at the end of September, and it really kind of kicks off the celebration and the awareness month in October, but we'll be celebrating it late September.
Okay, so this is a fundraiser, though.
It is.
Correct.
Yeah, so our foundation does a great job of anyone who is in need of getting a mammogram. Really, a lot of it is not just awareness of breast cancer. I think we're at a point in our society where everybody knows about breast cancer and the significance of it, but this is really about prevention.
Yeah.
And so we actually have, within our foundation, have actually decided to give free mammograms for those who qualify.
Really?
And so you can call up and see if you do qualify, and you can fill out the information and send that in, and then they'll reach back out to you. Our team at AdventHealth will reach back out to you and let you know if you do, and then you can go get a free scheduling, a free checkup. And again, it's all about prevention. And if you can catch it early detection is key in preventing it from happening in the first place.
Oh yeah, knowing early and being able there's over the years they've changed protocols on how to treat it too. I mean, it's not if you've got a certain mindset that breast cancer is treated in a certain way. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about AdventHealth and the people that we have working are so knowledgeable, and they're so willing to work with you about just about anything. And if you're not in the right location, they'll get you to the right location, and they'll do it pretty quickly. But yeah, this is a really great event. We're going to have testimonials. We're going to have people sharing their stories as well with us and to the crowd. And then obviously it'll be a small walk, and we're hoping, since it's going to be set in the evening time, it won't be too hot. And towards
Should
the
be
end
better.
of
Yeah.
it should be better by
yeah.
the end of September. And so we go around and you walk the trail of lights. We're going to have pink chalk everywhere, so you can't get lost on this trail. It's very, very easy to maneuver. And then once we're done and the event wraps up, we end it with a pretty big surprise with the big fireworks show and a display.
Really?
All of them are going to be pink, going to be flying off and stuff.
Aw.
So it's a lot of fun, not just for anybody who has been dealing with breast cancer or has a family member or friend that's been affected by it, but for kids. It's a family fun event. And so the best way to get involved is to pre-register ahead of time. Pre-registration is available right now. And if you pre-register, you're going to get a whole swag bag. We're going to have backpacks, drawstrings with pom-poms and blow-up, noise makers and glasses, the whole works.
Yeah.
And so you can be completely swagged out. You'll get a free T-shirt along with that pre-registration as well. And, again, register your kiddos, get them all the fun things that is just a really good time. I'm going to bring my kiddos out there, have them walk around and play with all the things. It's going to be set in a big field, so there'll be plenty of space for everybody to have fun. We're also going to have a DJ, so there'll be some live entertainment as well. So yeah, it's just a fun time, but also a time for everybody to kind of sit back and also reflect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always good. I need to ask, dog friendly or not?
It is a good question, and yes, it is dog friendly.
Okay,
so
all
come
right,
out there.
I know a lot of folks want to bring
Just bring a baggie. Just bring a baggie
Okay,
in case
just be sure, yeah.
as long as you've got that taken care of, then dogs are more than welcome.
Okay, good. Well, it is an outdoor event, as you say, and it's kind of fun to see these evening events where the lights and it just makes this kind of a walk, an awareness walk, if you will, just a little more festive.
Exactly, and again, we've got all sorts of things. We've got pink lights wrapped around all the railing and the sidings of it. We've got signs that will direct you where to go, but it really is just an incredible time to meet new people and meet people in the community. It's an acknowledgement to know that, hey, although we are dealing with this maybe currently right now as a family, maybe you've got a family member that has just got a recent diagnosis and things have been tough. It's a great opportunity for you to go out there and meet some people who have maybe already gone through this entire process, and they can give you some advice of, hey, this is right now, it's a very difficult time for you right now, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there is a better time than right now. And the services that AdventHealth provides for you will make it as easy and seamless as it possibly can be, to where this difficult time won't be so difficult later on.
It is a community. I mean, it is a community of survivors, folks who have been dealing with something as significant as breast cancer. Let's talk a little bit more, though, about AdventHealth And you say you've just recently come. Tell me a little bit about Tanner. Where did you come from? What's your background?
Yeah, so I have actually been within the community, working as the communication manager with the Killeen Chamber of Commerce, and so that's actually how I got to know Jay and the people at AdventHealth, because AdventHealth is so involved in the community. They've got events like this that we tried to help them promote their events for and participate as much as we possibly could. So through those connections and those networking opportunities, just doing my job the best I could at the chamber, I, met the right people at Advent, and they were impressed enough to say, hey, we might have an opportunity for you here. We'd love to have you on the team. And so it's a really funny story, because there was a time where we had these discussions before, and the timing just wasn't right. I was going through a couple transitions in my life, work-wise, personal life-wise, and it just, things didn't really align properly, and couldn't really, take that opportunity at that time. They reapproached me at a later date, and we talked things over, and it almost felt as though I had kind of leveled out where I was at previously, and I was about as far as I could go. And I think the timing of it then was almost perfect, and there was a lot of turnover at that time. And it just seemed as though there was some sort of divine faith or whatever higher being, whatever you believe in. For me, it's my faith in God, and it was just an eye-opening moment for me of right time, right place on His time, and really provided that opportunity. And so it was such a good opportunity that I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah. Well, that is probably, aside from the fabulous physicians and administrators and technicians that I've had the opportunity to visit with for KXSV, still doing a little freelance work for my old friends over there at Channel 25. But I've been so moved, frankly, as a Christian, by the really deep commitment at AdventHealth Central Texas for the mission of Christ.
Yeah. And that's something that, it was a contributing factor to my decision of wanting to work there, sure. Because those conversations were had in my interviewing process. Yeah. And some people might say, wow, that's a little far to start talking about faith.
Yeah, are you supposed to talk about stuff like religion?
But it came up organically. It wasn't forced.
No, that's the thing.
It
it's
wasn't
just a natural thing.
It wasn't something that was, hey, are you Christian? You can't be.
No.
That had nothing to do with it. It was more so, again, the timing of where I was in my life, and the timing of this position opening up, and just everything. And we both looked at each other while we were drinking a cup of coffee and said, this is a faith thing.
Yeah,
this
it's a God thing.
This isn't anything of us forcing this to happen.
Yeah.
It's just, again, it was so organic. Yeah.
Well, that's what I love about it. I mean, absolutely love about it. Well, so many great things happening at AdventHealth, and I've been really privileged to have some of the physicians. In fact, I've got Dr. Sinha coming on the show in the coming weeks, along with his beautiful wife, to talk about their new book about knee replacements. So can't wait for that. And the
gala.
The gala,
yeah.
Let's talk about the gala a little bit. We're going to have a little more later on the Ann Harder Show about that. But let's talk about that. That's coming up in October. That'll be here quickly.
Yeah, it'll be here before we know it, know. And well, that's one thing about this new position is, as soon as you think you're done, planning one event, you got one right probably the next week coming up right around the corner. But yeah, the gala, again, registration is open for that, and it is such a beautiful evening of recognition for not only everything that we've got going on, within our hospital, but really just a round of all the great work that goes a lot unseen and behind the scenes. And it's a good place to kind of shed a light on and spotlight some of the great things that are happening throughout the hospital. But everybody gets to dress up to the nines, and you get to see people who are typically in scrubs wearing gowns or suits and stuff. And so it's just a nice opportunity for everybody to get involved. And so, but really, really, again, just a really beautiful evening.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed being there last year, and but a new venue this year.
Yeah, it will be a new venue. It'll be in Temple this year. Let me make sure that I have the venue correct. But yeah, it should be a really nice evening. Again, registration, you can get on that. And all
anybody can come.
And all those proceeds go to benefit our foundation as
exactly.
well. Yeah.
So that is really key, to talk about the work of the foundation and how that supports the different departments
Correct.
there at
And
the hospital.
in marketing, I've already had to lean on foundation
Have
a little
you?
bit. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But the Commonwealth in Commonwealth, Texas, and Temple is where that's going to be located. Again, that's going to be October 9th at 5:30.
Yeah, that's going to be wonderful, and also some great things to bid on. Some wonderful auction items, and you have a fabulous auctioneer. I was so impressed with him last year, and I've been to a lot of events where you have an auction. He was so good.
Here's the great thing too is that I get to experience all these things for the first time.
Okay, so
so I that's what's fun for me is I probably won't even have everything completely down the way I think I do until I make it one full cycle around all of these events that we have year round and annual things like that. And so it's just another aspect to my job that's fun, that I don't just sit in an office all day long behind a computer screen and very mundane. No, there's something new just about every single day.
Yeah. Did you always know you wanted to have a career in marketing?
No. that was something that I had happened to fall into. Now, I've always wanted to be on the broadcasting journalist side of things.
Well, there you go.
And so I wanted to do what you do, essentially. Went to college, a small school, Southwestern College in Winfield, Kansas. And I got my bachelor's degree in an emphasis in radio and television and communications. And I was the student manager of our radio station there. And I was on the school newspaper, the editing team, and wanted to fall in. I did, color broadcasting for the football team and the basketball team.
Some sports.
I wanted to be a sports journalist is what I wanted to do. And then once I got out of college, I got onto a radio station in Crockett, Texas, where I got to cover, about 12 different high school teams of doing coaches interviews.
Friday Night Lights.
Night Lights, all those types of things. And so, and then my then wife, ex-wife now, she was graduating and she got a job in San Antonio that got us there. And I got a job at a radio station at WOAI.
Very familiar with WOAI.
In San Antonio. And the week we moved there, COVID hit.
Oh gosh!
I went to one restaurant and then everything shut down. And
the
so
world
I
stopped.
And so that was my job. COVID and politics and social justice movement was my job for about a year and a half, and it burnt me out. Every story I did, every conversation I had. And so that it got to a point to where I was like, I think I might want to go on the other side of this thing.
Something. I retired from broadcast news on February 28th of 2020. And so the world shut down after that. And I was already tired of reporting about COVID, and it had just started. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know. I could have.
That was just the tip of the iceberg.
So that's just when you started. Bless your heart.
Oh yeah, and that was kind of.
And my colleagues, they were figuring out how to do the newscast from their kitchen. I mean, it was nuts. It was nuts. So as I say, it's all in the timing.
A lot of it was timing again. And so what was funny is I went on my job interview and the whole building was occupied. You had salespeople, you had broadcasters.
Oh, I know.
The building was top to bottom filled. Every desk was filled with a butt and a seat.
Right.
My first day in the building, completely empty. I was the only one there.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I know. And some things have been permanently changed, I will have to say.
Revive Superfood Smoothies. Pill, pour, blend, and enjoy. All within the comfort of my own home.
Revive Superfood Smoothies. Peel, blend, and enjoy. Fast and easy, and I'm out the door.
From my standpoint, though, right after that happened is when I got the offer to come and start doing podcasts.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Here at Rogue Media, and I'm so 5.5 years later, here we are still doing podcasts in the new media. But it has been a delight to be able to do this and to meet new folks like you. I like to end these little visits with a sort of a questionnaire that the late great James Lipton used to do on Inside the Actor's Studio. That may mean nothing at all to you. I don't know. But anyway, this is my take on some of the questions he would ask his celebrity guests. And one is, what is your favorite word?
Oh, man. Appropriate one? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, my favorite word. Goodness gracious. That is a tough one. Honestly, I don't know why this is popping up in my head, but expectation seems to, I think we set ourselves up a lot for the success or the failures we have in life based on our expectations that we set for ourselves or for those around us, that we can't really, we don't have a say in a lot of the expectations we put on people around us.
Yeah.
And we just kind of have to react to the world, coming at us in a lot of different ways. And so I can only control what I can control. Mm-hmm. But if you try to say, well, so-and-so was supposed to do this and so-and-so is supposed to do that, you're setting yourself up to have a harder time accomplishing your goals with those types of expectations. And so I for whatever reason, that word is popping up in my head right
now. And I've literally asked hundreds of people these questions, and that's a first, but that's a very good one. So I'm going to follow it up with, what is your least favorite word?
I can't.
Yeah,
Can't.
I have heard that a lot.
That one.
I've heard that a lot.
I tell my girls all the time. I've got 3 kiddos, 3 girls, and an 8, a soon to be 9-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and they're in the perfect age of, Daddy, I can't, or Daddy, I can you do this for me? No, you can do it. You just haven't done it yet. So can't is one that I try not to instill in them by any means.
Right.
Yeah.
What turns you on creatively, emotionally, or spiritually, Tanner?
There's this fear of failure, this inability to support family, so support my kiddos and to just set the example for them of hard work and there are going to be days where getting out of bed might be the hardest thing you have to do that day, of just getting motivated and to just get up and to do it anyway. And there's going to be times where you don't want to follow through with something of plans that you've made, or there's going to be things that you've committed to that you don't want to commit to anymore, but finishing those out is important. Yeah. And so I think that there's this sense of accomplishment of doing something that's very difficult to do or something you don't want to do. And then whenever it's all done and it's behind you, you look back on it, and about 99% of the time you say, I'm glad I did that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Conversely, what turns you off creatively or spiritually or emotionally?
That's, I think somebody who's just not willing to adapt, or take accountability for something. And so I think that for me is a good way to just get me uninterested immediately, is if you're not going to take accountability for a screw up or not take, whatever that is, but someone just not willing to work with you or have any type of grace in the situation. We all make mistakes. That's perfectly fine. Making the mistakes is not the problem. It's owning up to them and trying to figure them out along the way after they're made and coming together to either avoid that or to make that mistake into a positive thing. That to me is way more advantageous than just pouting and pointing the finger at somebody else.
Yeah. What is your favorite sound?
The sound of, I really like the sound of a swish in basketball. That's a great sound to me.
Good.
I like hearing I like hearing the absence of a sound whenever your favorite team scores a touchdown on the road, and then the whole crowd is like, oh. Yeah, I do like that. So a lot of sports related, a
sports
lot of
rela-
sports
yeah.
related things.
That's all right. That's good.
But no, one of my daily sounds that I get to hear on a regular basis is whenever I turn on a song and one of my girls just starts singing unprovokedly, or it's quiet in the car and they're either just talking to themselves, like playing in the back seat, just minding their own business, or they start singing, Twinkle Little Star or something just on their own, and I'm just kind of sitting there. I try not to join in. I just try to embrace it for just a second. But then typically it turns into an air band rock session in the car. Yeah.
What's your least favorite sound?
Whining. Can't stand it. Yeah.
I know you didn't hesitate.
It's immediately whining is something that that's a quick trigger for me. Yeah. I can go from 0 to 100 real quick on whining. And that comes from adults too, not just kiddos.
Oh yeah, not just kids.
Yeah.
What job did you always want to do? What job would you like to try or like to have tried?
My dream job as a kid growing up, I realized at a very early age that I was not going to be an athlete. Like I didn't have the height, didn't have the speed, didn't have the athleticism, but I could learn about the sport and talk about the sport. One of my favorite things was listening to John Madden and Pat Summerall on a broadcast on a Monday Night Football game or a Sunday game. And, I grew up watching the Cowboys, so they called a lot of the, Troy Aikman Day games and stuff like that. And so I always wanted to be a sports broadcaster, play-by-play guy. And
you got to do that.
And I do it, and I still do it. Friday nights, I call high school games.
Great.
It's not on a national NFL scale, but it is on a scale of where it does quench that appetite a little bit of I get to just do something I really just enjoy doing. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What job do you don't want to do? No thanks. Let somebody else do that.
Probably as a doctor or surgeon.
Yeah.
I don't want that type of responsibility. Thank goodness there are people that are willing to take that leap. And then any type of military service.
Yeah.
That was not my calling, and I thank God every day that there are a ton of people that are willing to take that call. Me, it was never instilled in me, and if our country was made up of people like me, we'd have a lot of trouble. And so I just thank our military personnel of taking that call, taking that step. But yeah, I would say military and any doctor, nurse. I work with them every day, and I appreciate the work that they do every day. Because trust me, if they had what I have in my body, they would be like, again, we'd have a pretty tough society that we'd have to live in.
One last question, Tanner. When you arrive at the pearly gates, what do you want to hear the Lord say?
You did a good job making people happier, and as long as I kind of, if I can bring a smile to people's face, whether they are laughing at me or laughing with me, I'm good either way. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. But just making people a little bit happier every day. My favorite thing to see is a smile on someone else's face that I put there.
Yeah, that's great. Tanner, again, Shine the Light coming up September 25th.
Absolutely.
How can folks register?
You can register online. You can go to our Facebook page as well. We have all the links. If you go to AdventHealth Central Texas, go to our events page. Shine the Light will be there. And there's contact numbers of people who to call, links to click on to register. You can also just reach out to me. Say, Tanner.Carlson@AdventHealth.com. Shoot me an email and I will get you to the right people that you need to get to. But yeah, registration fee right now is less expensive than it will be at the gate. Now you can sign up and register, just walk in. But if you do it now, you'll save a little bit of money.
And you get the swag back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's not forget that. Thank you, Tanner. Thanks for being with us. I hope you have a great weekend. Join us Monday when we take a trip to downtown Waco and Falcon and Owl. It'll be fun.